Hello, dear friends. We live in challenging times. Should we laugh or cry? Better first. I hope this move brings peace to people at the end of a troubling week. Opinion piece. Initial stage. Uncertainty. Interim state. Decisive week. Provisional status. Between two waters. Geopolitical transition. The last gasp of Babylon. Love is an intermediate state between Pinto and Valdemoro. Let's start. We are in the initial stage of a great global transformation that will be for the better, but that will begin by worrying many people because of the news. I call it an intermediate or provisional state, like being between Pinto and Valdemoro. This saying is used to indicate that something is not well defined, that it presents a double alternative or an indecision. It is used to express a state of uncertainty, when you do not know what is going to happen in the future, and you have to make a decision or choose between two options. Pinto and Valdemoro are two towns in the province of Madrid, two villages, and their limits are defined by a stream. A drunk fell into the stream and gave rise to this expression. If we are uncertain when making a decision and the doubt is between two options, we say that we are between Pinto and Valdemoro. There are similar expressions in other countries. In the region of Cuyo, Argentina, when referring to a half-drunk person, the phrase estar entre San Juan y Mendoza, or to be, is used, while if one is in Peru, one will say between Pisco and Nazca. Between two waters. Love is an intermediate state between possession and deprivation, said Plato. The intermediate state refers to the condition of human beings between death and resurrection, but can also be applied on a social level. In sociology, the concept of intermediate range theories is used to analyze the behavior of social systems and their impact on society. In some forms of Christianity, the intermediate state or provisional state is the place of a person's existence between death and universal resurrection. Furthermore, there are beliefs of a particular judgment immediately after death and a general judgment or final judgment after the resurrection. In Tibetan, Wet Bado literally means intermediate state, also translated as transitional state. It occurs in the process of the death of an individual, which is equivalent to a state in which a personal decision or judgment is produced derived from one's own karma, which is carried out unconsciously by the individual himself through the visions he suffers in this state, prior to his next reincarnation. In this state, he also presents himself with an opportunity to recognize and achieve the true being by understanding the true nature of reality, and thereby achieve enlightenment, escaping from samsara. Reset News. Summer will surprise you, says Kim Clement. Andrew talks about events on Wednesday, April 24th, 3,500 years after the biblical Exodus, but I doubt he's right. According to Starship Earth, great strangeness is the order of the day. According to Chuck Callisto, there are reports of a massive cyber attack. According to JFK Jr., in quotes, in the coming days, you will face dark times around the world. This will be the last breath of Babylon. From the spectre of war, we will bring lasting peace. Do not be afraid. Move forward boldly. Israel has attacked nuclear facilities in Iran, Iraq, and Syria. Iran announced that it will launch a counterattack against Israel's nuclear sites. We are in divine hands. The banking crisis worsens. JP Morgan Chase announces that it is selling 8 million customer transaction stories to third-party advertisers. Risk of a stock market decline. Experts warn that withdrawals of the bank are planned to be frozen. In the UK, they plan to ban beef and close airports by 2029 as part of their weather narrative. They want to confine you and control your food supply. Charlie Watt believes that the collapse of the dollar and euro must first be dealt with before November. The fiat currency will be replaced by another asset-backed currency. In his opinion, this is a war, not a game. The way you can tell the good system from the bad is that the good one is backed by assets. China forgave all Zimbabwe's debts to strengthen its new currency called SIG. This has angered the dark side. When you have debts, they can control you. The core banking system lives inside the box, but QFS is freedom outside the box. What is not asset-backed is centralized, but what is asset-backed is not centralized, and we will be our own banks. The central bank digital currency would be controlled, and the government would decide what is spent. If you don't spend it in the right places, they can take your wallet. Charlie Munger lived in the same house for 70 years. He watched rich friends buy luxurious houses and became less happy. Richard Gere and his wife, Alejandra Silva, moved to La Moraleja, the most exclusive urbanization in Madrid. Penélope Cruz put the name of Alcobendas on the world map. All the great figures wanted to buy their residence there, from artists to footballers and businessmen. Tucker Carlson talks about aliens with Joe Rogan. In quotes, they are spiritual entities. They are supernatural. They have been here a long time, and there is a lot of evidence that they are under the ocean and underground. Economy. Gold is hitting for $2,500. Gold, silver, and copper have a big day again on Saturday. The World Gold Council predicts a continued rebound. The Asian price of precious metals exceeds the Western level. Prices in Asia are higher than in the West, and metals flow to the East. Gold has surpassed $2,400, and silver is approaching $29. Bitcoin rises after halving. Historically, the halving has coincided with an increase in price. Gold and Bitcoin shows opposite behaviors during geopolitical tension. Gold increases in value while Bitcoin decreases. Gold skyrocketed to $3,000 while 300 drones headed to Israel at a snail's pace. Bitcoin fell 10% at the same time. Gold and oil sold on reports of explosions in central Iran and Israeli airstrikes in Iraq and Syria. Experts highlight the importance of gold for the success of the BRICS currency. More than 40 states have applied to be members of the BRICS, and the number of countries increases every month. Russian gold export stopped after new tariffs linked to the exchange rate. Russian citizens can exchange currency for gold at their local banks. Peter Schiff believes that as the economy worsens, precious metals are hitting higher. Price pressure moves assets up and down like waves in an ocean. Depending on the strength of that wave, it has the ability to cross a lake, an ocean, or even all sectors of the market. Our world is once again searching for solid ground. Which asset will rise to the top? The storms of life are what reveal our greatest strength. The US wants to pass legislation to sanction China's purchase of Iranian oil. The EU increases its capital requirement to be on a level playing field with other currencies. Amid geopolitical uncertainty, the US considers sanctions against China's Iranian oil trade, and India reaffirms its energy link with Russia. The House of Representatives approves confiscating Russian assets in favor of Ukraine. Americas. The volatility of the Mexican peso is not a risk for prices, says the head of Banxico. Carlos Slim wants to invest more than $7.6 billion in Brazil in 5 years. The Minister of Finance of Chile toughens his position in the negotiation of pensions. The BRICS, Colombia's geopolitical commitment to a region in a crisis. Noboa declares a new state of exception in Ecuador in the face of the energy crisis. Ecuadorians experienced electoral silence prior to the consultation, including a blackout. More than 63,000 Russian tourists spent their holidays in Cuba in the first quarter of 2024. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.